What if the way you love today was shaped long before your first relationship? What if the deepest patterns in your heart began with the relationship you had, or never had, with your father? Today, we'll explore the truth. Have you ever wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your love life? Why you feel drawn to men who mirror the same wounds, the same longing, the same emptiness inside, even when you tell yourself, this time will be different? Carl Jung believed that the deepest patterns in our adult relationships are often rooted in the earliest bond we knew, the bond between father and daughter. Whether your father was present or absent, loving or distant, kind or critical, that first experience of masculine energy left an imprint. And for many women, that imprint becomes the unconscious script for every relationship that follows. Today, we will explore how your father wound silently shapes your love life, how it influences who you feel attracted to, how it creates patterns of longing, of chasing, of self-abandonment, and most importantly, how understanding this can set you free. Stay with me, because once you see how this invisible force has been shaping your relationships, you will never look at love the same way again. Let's begin. Carl Jung taught that the human psyche is not random. The experiences we have in early life become the architecture of the unconscious mind. When it comes to love, no experience is more formative than the father-daughter relationship. The father represents the first masculine figure in a girl's life. He shapes her understanding of trust, safety, worth, and love. When that bond is healthy, a girl grows up feeling secure in her worth, able to trust masculine energy, and able to receive love. But when the bond is wounded through absence, rejection, neglect, or inconsistency, it creates a deep imprint of longing, a wound that says, I must prove my worth, I must chase love, I must fix what was broken. And that wound becomes the lens through which she sees every man. You may consciously choose partners who seem different, but if the wound remains unhealed, the unconscious will still seek what is familiar. Why? Because the psyche repeats what it knows. In an attempt to resolve it, Jung called this the compulsion to repeat. The hope is always the same. Maybe this time, I will finally be loved in the way I was not. Maybe this man will heal what my father could not. But unless the original wound is healed within, the same pain repeats. Let's look at some of the ways the father wound shows up. In adult relationships, one sign is attraction to emotionally unavailable men. When the father was distant, cold, or absent, part of the psyche seeks out that same energy in partners, not to suffer, but to try to rewrite the story. There is a longing to fix what was broken, to finally receive love from a similar figure. It feels magnetic, almost impossible to resist, because the child within you is still hoping for resolution. Another sign is chasing love. If love had to be earned in childhood, the adult woman often feels she must prove herself in relationships. She may overfunction, abandon her own needs to be loved. Deep inside is the belief, I am not enough as I am. I must do more to deserve love. Another common pattern is tolerating poor treatment. When the father was critical, rejecting, or emotionally inconsistent, the daughter often internalizes the message. This is what love feels like. And in adulthood, when she encounters the same dynamic, it feels familiar. Even if it is painful, it matches the old pattern. The psyche clings to what is known, because it feels safer than the unknown. Some women even find stability and kindness uncomfortable at first, because it does not match the emotional blueprint they carry inside, and so they unconsciously sabotage healthy love or push it away, without understanding why. There is also the longing for rescue. If the father was absent or emotionally unavailable, the adult woman may unconsciously seek a partner to fill that void. She may project onto a man the role of savior or healer. She may believe that once she finds the right man, her inner emptiness will be healed. But no partner can truly fill the emptiness left by the father wound. And when he inevitably fails to meet those impossible expectations, the old pain resurfaces. She feels abandoned again, rejected again, trapped in the same cycle of longing and loss. This is why awareness is so important. Until you see the pattern, you cannot change it. But once you understand how the father wound shapes your relationships, you begin to reclaim choice. You stop chasing unavailable love. You stop trying to fix men who mirror the old pain. You begin to ask, what do I truly want? What kind of love honors who I am today, not the wounded child I once was? You begin to see where your needs were never met, and you learn to meet them within yourself first. it is also important to say this: you are not broken. The patterns you carry are not your fault. They were shaped by experiences far beyond your control. But you are not powerless. Healing is possible, and it begins with with understanding how your earliest bonds shaped your beliefs about love, and with offering compassion to the parts of you that still carry that old longing. Another key is learning to listen to your emotional body. When you notice yourself feeling anxious, overly attached, or triggered in a relationship, pause and ask, is this reaction coming from my present self, or from my wounded inner child? This simple awareness creates space. It allows you to respond with compassion instead of reacting from old pain. Over time, you begin to build trust with yourself. You learn to soothe your own heart, and as you do, your patterns begin to shift. You stop being pulled toward partners who recreate the old story. You start feeling drawn to relationships that feel safe, supportive, and aligned with your true worth. In the next part of this video, we will explore how to identify when your father wound is driving your choices, how to begin healing the old beliefs and emotional imprints, and how to open yourself to a new kind of love, one that is rooted in wholeness, not in longing. Stay with me, because what comes next may transform the way you experience love forever. Before we continue, if you want to understand these deep patterns within yourself and finally break free from them, I recommend exploring the Jung Method. It is a powerful tool to help you decode your unconscious patterns and reclaim your emotional freedom. You will find the link in the first pinned comment. Now, let's continue. How do you recognize when your father wound is driving your choices in love? One of the clearest signs is when you feel an intense attraction to emotionally unavailable men. There is something about their distance, their inconsistency, that pulls you in. On the surface, it may feel like passion or chemistry, but underneath, it is the old wound seeking resolution. Your unconscious is drawn to what is familiar, even when it hurts. It clings to the hope that this time, you will finally receive the love that was once denied. Another sign is the constant feeling of needing to prove yourself in relationships. If you notice that you often give too much, sacrifice your own needs, or lose yourself trying to be loved, this may be rooted in the father wound. You are not doing this because you are weak or unworthy. You are doing it because, deep inside, there is a belief that love must be earned, that you must work hard to deserve affection and attention. You may also find that you tolerate poor treatment far longer than you should, when criticism, neglect, or emotional distance feels strangely normal. It often points to old patterns established in childhood. If your father was critical or dismissive, that dynamic may now feel familiar in adulthood. The psyche seeks to repeat the known, even if it is painful, because it feels safer than the unknown. There may also be a strong longing for rescue. If you feel incomplete, without a partner, or constantly seek someone to fill the emptiness inside, this often reflects an unmet need from the father bond. The truth is, no partner can fill that space. Healing must come from within. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to breaking them. Once you see them, you begin to reclaim choice. You begin to create space for a different kind of love. So how do you begin to heal the father wound? First, by offering yourself compassion. These patterns were not your fault. They were shaped by early experiences beyond your control. You are not broken. You are human, and your psyche has been doing its best to protect you and help you survive. Second, by bringing awareness to your beliefs about love, start to notice the unconscious messages you carry. Do you believe you must prove your worth to be loved? Do you fear that true intimacy will lead to rejection? Do you expect love to feel like longing and struggle? These beliefs were formed early, but they can be changed. One powerful way to begin this shift is through inner child work. By connecting with the younger part of yourself that still carries the old pain, you can begin to meet her needs in the present. You can offer her the love, safety, and validation that was once missing. As you do this, the old longing begins to soften. The compulsion to repeat begins to fade. You also begin to set new boundaries. When you value yourself, you no longer tolerate poor treatment. You no longer chase love that mirrors your old wounds. You begin to choose differently. Self-love is essential in this process, not in a superficial way, but in a deep, embodied way. When you meet your own needs for safety, worth, and love, you stop needing others to fill those spaces. You stop being drawn to partners who echo your old pain. Your attractions begin to shift. You feel less magnetized to chaos and more drawn to kindness, stability, and genuine connection. Carl Jung taught that healing the shadow is about bringing it into the light. When you own your wounds, when you stop hiding from them, they lose their unconscious power. You no longer act from them without knowing. You begin to choose from awareness, from clarity, from self-love. And this is true freedom. It is also important to release the fantasy that a partner will heal your old pain. No relationship can do this for you. Healing is your work. And as you do it, your relationships transform. You stop seeking validation outside yourself. You begin to experience love from a place of wholeness, not longing. You also stop idealizing unavailable partners. You see them clearly, without projecting old wounds onto them, and you open yourself to receive love that matches your healing. It is important to be patient with this process. Patterns formed over years do not change overnight. Healing the father wound is a journey, one that unfolds in layers. But with each step of awareness, with each act of self-love, the old story loosens, a new story begins. A story where you no longer chase love to fill a void. A story where you honor your needs and boundaries. A story where you choose partners who reflect your worth, not your wounds. And perhaps most beautifully, a story where you finally feel at peace within yourself, whether in a relationship or not. This is the power of healing. This is the freedom that comes from understanding your patterns and transforming them. If you find yourself recognizing these signs, know this: you are not alone. Many carry the father wound, often without knowing. But awareness is the first key to change. Compassion is the second, and conscious choice is the third. You have the power to rewrite the story of your relationships. You have the power to heal. And you are worthy of love that honors who you truly are. Your past does not have to define your future. Your wounds do not have to choose your partners. You are free to choose. You are free to heal. You are free to create love from a place of wholeness. And that is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It all begins with awareness. It all begins with self-love. And it begins now.